Feeding minds, the environment, and healthy futures. Horticulture is the backbone of this country, and just as important as biodiversity is in our communities, so is diversity culturally. Well, joining us with the new Community Horticulture Fellowship Program is Shanice Chesney, Fellowship Program Manager for Charleston Parks Conservancy. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me here.
There's one thing we love here, it is the outdoors.
Absolutely.
We've got some beautiful preserves, conserves, parks. So the outdoors is very much a part of the Low Country experience, isn't it?
Right, it really is.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about what the Conservancy is doing with this fellowship.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an initiative to train and recruit the next generation of diverse horticulture leaders.
Yeah, and when you say diverse horticulture leaders, maybe you can expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, so we'll be working with communities that have been traditionally underserved, and then making sure that the representation in terms of leadership and management looks like the communities that they're serving as well.
And so the Conservancy, how many parks fall under the Conservancy's purview?
So right now we manage a little over 20 of the parks.
20 of them. Yeah. That's quite a few. And we've had the Conservancy on many times before, and we talk about different projects and landscape projects, all kinds of things where people can volunteer and join in and make their neighborhoods and communities beautiful. So does it go beyond just the aesthetics for the fellowship program?
Yes, and I think what's really exciting is that it's under the field of horticulture. So there's the pollinators, native plants, working with plant science and diseases, urban farming. I think there's just so many different ways that you can make horticulture your own beyond what we see at maybe Colonial Lake or Corinne Jones Park.
Right, and we were just out at the Green Heart Project downtown, and that was firsthand. We could see the communities coming together, growing vegetables, and using that to then provide to the community around. But when we go back to diversity in horticulture, why is that important, and what has been the experience thus far for the need for this fellowship to come into play?
I think it's really important because, as you talked about with parks and plants, biodiversity is incredibly important to make it, flourish and work. And so diversity in our community, our organization, and especially the horticulture industry is equally as important.
Are we seeing a lack of that right now?
I think we're seeing a lack in terms of the leadership and the management side. I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of representation in sort of the everyday, but in terms of who is really making the decisions for the communities, there is a lack there.
And why do you think that is?
Oh gosh, it could be any sort of number of reasons, but I think, well, for one, horticulture as a career, it's not one of the more popular ones, and I think it's one of the more underrepresented as a career field. Yeah. But then also just thinking about communities in terms of exposure, it's just not something that we've seen.
I see. How does the fellowship work exactly, and how do people apply?
Yeah, so how it works is the fellows receive a year of professional development and immersive on-the-job training with our community partners and within our parks. And so we'll be starting our application in the fall. That'll run through October, and we'll announce our fellows in December, and they'll have a January start date.
Fantastic. And how do they apply? Where do they go?
They'll go to charlestonparksconservancy.org.
Okay, wonderful. So make sure you apply. And you said that there's nothing like just getting your hands in the dirt and playing in the dirt all day.
Right. There's something incredibly rewarding about playing in the dirt, for sure.
I agree. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're back after this.